Hey friends, welcome back to my channel. If you are new here, my name is Chelsea and thank you for joining me today. So today I am reading an article in a paper newspaper, which is crazy for 2024. I know, but I'm doing it. My family, we actually subscribe and receive a paper newspaper once a week to the Epic Times. I highly recommend it as a newspaper. My family gets a lot of enjoyment out of it. There are a lot of articles related to family life, recipes, puzzles, home life, it's just a really cool, wholesome newspaper and we enjoy it a lot. So if you don't want to get a subscription, I totally understand. But I am reading an article in it today that I would really like to share with you. It is in the Mind Body section in the issue for May 1st through 7th, 2024. And there is an article called Exposing the Mysteries of Heart Disease. This is written by Emma Textra. And I found this very interesting because it really talks a lot about something I'm interested in, and that is cholesterol and your heart health and statins. So I had my cholesterol taken in November of 2023. Now, I had not had anything to compare it to. I'm relatively young and I never really went to the doctor. But after I started my carnivore lifestyle, I was almost a year in and I really wanted just to see where I was. Before I was on carnivore, I was actually symptomatic of high cholesterol. I had some of the lethargy, inflammation, and headaches, things like that associated with high cholesterol. That was completely eliminated by the time that I had my blood work done. So while I have nothing to compare it to, I know that there was probably something wrong with my cholesterol levels before I was on this diet. Anywho, I got my cholesterol taken and all of my cholesterol was high. My good cholesterol was high, the HDL. My bad cholesterol was high, my LDL. But also my triglycerides were down to 46. And I discussed this with my nurse practitioner and we both agreed. I exercise regularly. I have absolutely no symptoms of high cholesterol. I'm a fairly healthy lady. So, that's about all the action I'm taking. I'm just going to continue moving on. And I would like to have my cholesterol taken again, probably again in November, just to see, because I didn't have anything to compare before, but now I will have something to compare it to. But this article I found absolutely fascinating, and it discusses the urgency, I would say, in telling people that they need to get their LDL, the bad cholesterol, down. And what they've been doing to remedy that in the medical community is they have been prescribing statins. Statins are a drug that target LDL cholesterol and help to lower it. They think that that will decrease your risk for heart disease and heart attack, and that's fine. I tend to disagree, but I will tell you why. And this article actually kind of reiterates some of the things that I agree with. First of all, statins, they target LDL cholesterol. However, when there is a drug that comes out for something, it means that that drug was used and tested to do that one function. And that's what it's marketed for. It doesn't really talk about the risks or the other health problems that these drugs actually may cause. And statins can actually cause more harm than good. They actually increase your risk of dementia. And I know that some doctors will actually tell you before you begin a statin that they do increase your risk of dementia. Now that is absolutely alarming because what I have found is the use of statins are so widely ubiquitous. Now, I don't think I know a single individual over the age of 60 who is not prescribed statins, currently on statins, or recommended to take statins. Now, one thing that upsets me is that one of the culprits for high LDL cholesterol, it's known is saturated fats. And a lot of people, they are told to go back on saturated fats, lessen down saturated fats. But this article kind of confirms that there's a lot of research that finds that simple sugars and carbohydrates such as pasta and processed foods and breads are actually more of a risk to raise your cholesterol and give you more heart problems than saturated fats. They actually found that, especially in farm-raised animal fats, are actually linked to a healthier lifestyle and a lower risk for heart disease. So I'm not saying it's right or wrong, but I'm saying that I don't know that the research is actually confirmed enough and solid enough to say that LDL cholesterol and high-fat diets are what are causing these cholesterol heart disease related issues. This article also discusses the statin industry. It says, worth noting that the sale of statins are one of the biggest money generators for the pharmaceutical industry at more than $15 billion in 2023. So there is absolutely no benefit for pharmaceutical companies to back down and change their research model because they are making a fortune on statins, an absolute fortune. So when people are well and healthy, it's really hard to sell them drugs that they don't need, meaning pharmaceutical companies are not going to make as much money if you are healthy. So keeping people, a little bit in the dark as to what causes these things and why may not be a financial benefit to them. I'm not saying that that's true. I'm saying that that could be a big motivating factor to keep people maybe a little more unhealthy. Now, this article also goes on to say that they find the lipoprotein particles or elements in the blood are actually higher linked to heart disease and cholesterol issues, and that statins actually do nothing to lower those. So there is a link between something else and high cholesterol and heart disease. There are a lot of genetic factors, and this article also reiterates that the genetic predisposition to high cholesterol is more significant than lifestyle. Now, if you were living a very unhealthy lifestyle and you were eating a lot more simple carbohydrates and, pasta, bread, processed foods, there may be a lifestyle issue connected to higher cholesterol and heart disease, but you have to look at your genetic predisposition first. And there is not a medication on the market available that can target that genetic predisposition. Now, there's also some interesting things, some facts that cholesterol, especially LDL cholesterol, higher levels increase testosterone, whereas higher processed food, simple sugar diets actually increase estrogen. And estrogen increases have led to emotional and mental problems as well as an increased risk for cancer, especially in women. I think that the medical community is not as far along as they think they are. I'm not saying that they are wrong, and I'm not saying that I'm right for sure. I'm saying that from what I've lived and what I've seen, I can see that maybe there are some alternative methods to approaching health and individual profiles in order to find the best remedies for their own situation. I do know that there is an increased risk of heart disease and diabetes and all of this stuff now than there were, 40 years ago. But I also know that our lifestyles have significantly and drastically changed over the last 40 or so years. We are busier, we are eating out more, and we eat a lot more junk food and processed food and convenient food. And I think that that might have a bigger link to heart disease and higher cholesterol than maybe, eating saturated fats. And in fact, they found that animal fats increase memory, and they actually help decrease dementia and Alzheimer's. They're doing a lot of studies right now. And I'm really glad that we live in an era where people are talking and people are doing more research and diving deep, because they are finding that ketogenic and carnivore diets are actually solving and helping to reduce health problems in individuals at a far greater rate than a lot of these medications are. Now, again, this was the Epic Times in the Mind Body section. It is a really awesome newspaper. I would really love to talk more about cholesterol and LDL levels and genetic predispositions. It's something that I'm really fascinated about. I'm not blaming anybody, but I definitely think that there's a link between pharmaceutical company profits and our decrease and decline in health, and a lack of research and awareness into what causes a lot of the health problems that are really plaguing us. We're in an era where we should be living a very, very long time. While life expectancy has increased, there are still a lot of factors that have us living shorter lives than our parents and grandparents even. So if you would like to discuss this more, I'm all ears. Please let me know in the comments how you feel about cholesterol, how you feel about LDL. What is your cholesterol? What's your diet like? Let me know. I would really love to hear from you. And again, this is a bit of a tangent, but I found this article absolutely fascinating, and I would love to hear from you. Until next time, God bless.